Good. Okay, well, we'll start that over then. So, okay, so gentrification, mission. Okay, so this is the announcement from 2016 about the development project on the south end. This is our property here. And I never really showed you guys this from this angle, but this gives you a very realistic understanding of how big this project is. Everything in yellow is this $2.4 billion development, 150 acres. Let me go back. Over here in the green is our block, right to the right, and the bottom right. So very, very close. And this entire segment, everything between us and them is going through a lot of redevelopment. Home prices are soaring. I'm going to show you some market data in the next few slides here so you can see what I'm talking about. So 2020, we got some notoriety for what we were doing, buying the blocks, protecting existing residents. Let's see. And then 2021, I always like to point this out and pay homage to Mr. Stevens. He's one half of the couple that allowed us to do this project with the crowdfund. He actually passed away almost a year to the date of when we closed on the property. So in essence, what we did was we renamed the property after him to pay homage to him. This is kind of the new look of the front of the buildings. So this is so we're going to go to market updates now, like we were talking about just now. So this is the proposed renderings for East River. This is also the proposed phase 1 construction. And this is what's actually going on now. So they're very active. Within a year, this part of the project will be done. This is another view of it. And actually, I'm going to play this video for you. Let's see. So this is showing you the expansiveness of it. I mean, it's like they're building the whole city over there. And this is just phase 1. This is only 26 acres of the 150 acres. What I'm doing is showing you guys how close our property is to actual driving from this site back over to our property. So we're going north on JENSEN Drive. We're going to pass under Highway 59. Okay. And then what you're going to see right here on the right, Frank Liu, one of the biggest developers in the city, is building 40 $500,000 townhomes on this lot. This is the other big project I'm working on. It's going to be a multi-family apartment complex, 300 units in partnership with the Housing Authority. And then we're bringing a top performing Black charter school on the north end of the property, which will be right there. So then we're going to turn right onto Lyons Avenue. We'll go under Highway 59. And this, once again, used to all be one big business district, but they ran the highways through it and it kind of killed the economics for Fifth Ward. But as soon as you cross into the freeway, our property is literally right here on the right. So that just gives you real world proximity to how close we are to everything. So if you want to look at some market data. So I went to 3 different websites just to have three points of validation. But if you look over to the right and look at the chart from 2020 to 2022, home prices went from 250 to 350 on average. Year over year, we're 14.8%, and that's before East River really got under construction. So that just gives you an idea of where everything is going. Second site, let's see. Oh, it's moving fast. Hold on, guys. Okay, so the second site, over 200 active sales in the market, but you look at today, the median list price for a house is $355. So this is the third site. This says median home price is $357. But you look at some of those sales price points, you have close to the project, you see $515 in the middle, see $339, $465. And so what's happening is that area is becoming gridlocked, and all of the new construction is basically spilling over to the north side of I-10. So it's kind of cool. If you go back to some of our first discussions about this, I was kind of projecting all of these things to come, and now we actually see it in real time actually happening. So this will be $1 million homes by the time East River is done. This area, Fifth Ward, will be very close to the high cost area of Spring Branch, because East River is identical to City Center and is built by the same developer. So what we also have done recently, since I ran it for the first year or so and got a good feel for the operations of the rental properties, the peer space, and the short-term rental, I interviewed 20 different property management companies and recently have turned that over to a third-party property management company that actually has several Airbnbs in the community. They're actually a husband and wife team. And they've been doing a great job of keeping all of our tenants up to date on everything. We actually have a few tenants that were behind on their rents. They held out throughout COVID, which was really great. But we have 4 tenants right now that are 2 or 3 months behind. But we are walking them through the Harris County Assistance Program so that the program actually will pay 6 months of their rent. So we'll get caught up on what to do to us, and then they'll pay for the next 2 months as well while we try to help them figure out their next opportunity for employment. The current value of the property has gone up a little bit more. We haven't gotten it reappraised. At the end of the year, I will get a full actual new appraisal. But as you can see, when we closed, we bought it for 1.25, even though it was worth 1.32. We had the 400 and something thousand dollars of renovations, and we're almost at $2 million in value at the moment. Okay, so what I really want to talk about today is a lot of the challenges that I've been having with on the back end with the platforms that we're trying to use to communicate everything to the shareholders. What's really going on is a lot of these platforms were set up for venture capital raises, especially on the regulation CF level with these smaller raises. So they were thinking people are going to invest money and this company is going to take 2 or 3 years to be built up. And then it may break even year 4, year 5, and then investors may make money at some point in the future when that company is bought out or sold or something like that. Well, when it comes to us, what we did with this real estate fund, we bought something that already was performing, already had cash flow, value was already going up. And so a lot of them didn't have the back end to accommodate all the things that were really needed. So we got off of the By the Block platform. I went to another platform called Core Connects, which everybody knows about now. And they have been working on building up their back end infrastructure. They do have the capability now for us to show like current share values, we know what's been distributed, what's been accumulated, but it's still a very manual process. So what we're doing now is I've gotten all of the spreadsheets updated and everything sent to them, and they have to then upload all the data to everyone's accounts. But what we're doing is we're reconciling line by line for each investor to make sure everything's accurate, because we did get a few discrepancies with the information that we received from the By the Block group. So let's see here. So what I'm also working on too is creating our own backend. Again, if you can mute your phone, if you're on the call, make sure, please everyone mute. So what I'm also working on too is creating our own platform. So I've been talking with some back-end program folks that can design and build what we actually need so we can have our own thing in-house. Because unfortunately what happened with By the Block, we were their largest fund. We were the only one that went over, I think, 500,000. And so I think we put a large stress on them as far as their capacity to handle that, but for very good reasons. However, unfortunately, right now their site is down. So that was an eye opener for me, thinking, if we were completely dependent on these third-party sites, then that would have been an issue. Thankfully, we had already had, I kind of saw that coming, and I got off of the platform and went to Core Connects, but who knows what could happen with any platform. So what we're doing now is building everything on the back end on our own, with even with manual processes, with accounting, with the legal team. And so a lot of things may be a little bit redundant, but what we're doing is making sure that we never lose our data, we never lose our information, so that everybody that's a part of this will remain a part of this. I mean, we're really real estate investors. The challenges have been, how do I communicate with all of you effectively so that everyone can understand where we are and what's going on. But we're invested in real estate. That value is really going up. So sometimes just because the platform doesn't reflect it doesn't mean it's not there. So anybody that reaches out to me personally, I'll answer your questions and let you know where we are with that part of the process. And so you will see some more forms coming out next week from the legal team. We're going to be adding a triple layer of verification to everything so that everybody can really understand where they are. Okay. So let's talk. Okay, so here's the Core Connects platform. Like I said, the information will be updated. I'm pretty sure if you're on here, you've already been in Core Connects and you got everything set up. And if not, please make sure you do. Okay, and then and I just kind of walked through some of this already. The files have been submitted for uploading. Let's see, the current share values are there. The share value increases will be shown. And if you just purchase new shares, that information will be updated as well. What I'm doing is, since tomorrow is going to be the cutoff date to buy or sell, we're going to reconcile that data one last time, give it to Core Connects, then all of that information will be updated onto their platform, hopefully by the end of next week. They're working on the older data now, and we'll just be adding this to it. So if you're selling shares, it'll be the same thing. If you're selling all of your shares, you'll be filling out a different form that says, you've received full compensation, full reimbursement for your initial investment, plus the returns that are accumulated. And then the company, the LLC, would actually buy those shares back from you. And then we can sell those shares to other shareholders or other people that want to buy the shares. And so what we're basically doing in this process is called creating a secondary market, which is no different than any other company. When you buy a share of Apple, you buy a share of Tesla, when you trade it on open market, Tesla isn't buying it back from you. Technically, another investor that wants it is buying it from you. But those third-party markets are the ones that host, the trading back and forth. And the market is set, basically say you want $50 for it. Somebody says, I'll pay you 49. And then you decide whether you want to sell to them at 49. That determines the new value of the share. Or they'll say, no, I want to buy it at 55. So then they'll buy from you at 55. But all of that's usually done third party outside of the initial company that you're investing in. But what we're doing to make sure that shareholders have the opportunity to get in and out is we're actually trying to facilitate that process by actually buying the shares back as a company and then reselling them. So this is the calculation chart. This is in the updates folder. This is, once again, I walked through this for anybody that wasn't on before. If you invested early on when the shares were $50 a piece, the new valuation we have for the shares is $52. And if you haven't taken any payouts, everything's been about 4% per round due to the rent levels going up modestly through the commercial rents, not through the residential rents, with the pier space and everything. And then so the total for the first 3 rounds is $30 for every 5 shares that you own. I do expect that to go up a little bit more once the second commercial building comes online. And I do expect the share value itself, which is basically based off of the property value, to start increasing more as East River comes further online and the property values in the area go up significantly. I really expect property values to at least double in this market. In Spring Branch, like I said, which is the identical case study, the values are quadruple or more what they were before that city center project was there. Okay, so yeah, like I said, tomorrow, July 31st, will be the last day for you to elect to buy or sell. If you did not get that email from me, please let me know. Send me an email after this. There's a link in there where you can submit how many shares you have, how many shares you would like to buy or sell. And then there will be a formal DocuSign document coming from our legal team sometime at the end of next week or early the following week. Well, we're going to be confirming everything and make sure it shows the right number of shares that you say you have, the ones you've sold or the ones you've purchased. And then it'll be mandatory that everybody fills that out so that we make sure that not only our spreadsheets and Core Connects are up to date and accurate, but we have to keep these documents on hand in case we ever get audited by the SEC or any of those financial organizations, because this is a federally regulated crowd fund. Okay, so like I said, the election forms for distributions, which is different from buying and selling shares, you can either elect to continue to let everything accrue, and we're gonna have it where it shows what the dollar value is, but also the fractional share value is, which means your distributions may not be enough to equal the purchase of a full share. So we're going to give you the option to make it fractional shares, where it could be a portion of a share. until it gets to the full amount of what each share is worth. Now you can elect to sell that fractional share, which is the same thing as getting a distribution, or you can elect for it to accrue, and which as the property value goes up, each share value increases as well. And then another important thing that we're working through right now, the tax reporting for this. One of the biggest things that was not discussed on the front end of these crowdfund raises was the IRS requirements on the back end. So anytime you're an investor, you're a partner in an investment, you have to get a K-1 statement. Usually a K-1 statement for a project in the millions has 10 investors max, 10 or 20 investors max. So the cost of doing each investor's payout or return may be $400 or $500, which is feasible, when you have a multi-million-dollar project. However, a lot of these CPAs did not have the capacity to issue K-1 statements for over 1,500 investors in a way where it could be cost effective for our fund. With the total profits being a little over 100,000, there's no way it would make sense for us to spend 25,000 just to have the K-1 statements issued. So what we're doing right now is we're going through internal processes to be able to produce them with the oversight of a CPA who can then review it. But I spent the first half of this year talking to several different firms and trying to get a cost that made sense. And I just couldn't justify it because it would literally cut everybody's distributions in half, just to get the tax returns printed out. I was like, I'm just going to figure out a better way. I mean, if you think about it, in reality, every project I've done so far, people have said that they were impossible. So it's just nothing new, but we'll get this one figured out as well, so that everybody else can get their K-1 statements. Now, the good thing is it's not going to really have a impact because it's our tax return is basically a net zero at this point because we have so many write-offs from all of the amount of capital we put into the project, and our depreciation off of the real estate and our expenses. We actually still have a carry forward of write-offs. So there is no income tax due for this project at the moment, but you still have to, it's good to have the K-1s, it's good to report the K-1s so you're in compliance. But as far as it changing your actual tax return for the year, that will not be an impact. Let's see. Okay, so we went through that. Okay, so that's all I have for this formal presentation. Like I said, I really need everybody, if you have not filled out those forms, I really need you to do that. Let me stop the share real quick. And I'm actually going to open it up for questions if anybody has a question.
Yeah, Chris, I have a question, man.
Sure.
Yeah, this Tim, would the new platform be shown like the new, and I'm sorry if you covered it, I kind of came late. Would it be showing the new value of your shares? So let's say you bought $1,000 worth of shares. That was the initial purchase price. Would it show what the new value is based on the new value of the entire project?
Yeah, that's the first part of the call. I went through that. Most of these platforms they were not designed to handle a project that was moving as quickly as this one. So that we're having to upload everything manually. First, they had to build out the back end for us to even have that functionality. But now I'm having to populate spreadsheets, reconcile them, and then make sure that they get the right data because they're just basically uploading whatever files I give them. So data in is data out, right? So you have to have the right information. But yes, they have the files for anybody that's already owns shares. They have that information and they're reconciling it now to upload it. It'll show that. It'll show, whether you've taken your distributions or not, and showing how that's accrued in fractional shares and in dollar value. And then if you bought new shares at the new price point, it'll also reflect that as well.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Yep, no problem.
Hey, Chris, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
My name is Stephanie Melton, and I'm new at it. But if I purchase shares today, and it sounds like it's kind of like I may get shares, I may not, just depending on how it play out. if for some reason I'm unable, if I paid for the shares, what happens if there's none to be distributed to me? What happens to the money that I put in
No, no,
today?
no. If you've paid, that means you have shares. You have shares.
Okay.
Yeah, what
Okay.
I'm saying is I'm going to cut it off. There's like 115 left, but I'm going to cut off the opportunity or the election to be able to buy them as soon as we run through those last 115 shares.
All right. So if I pay for 20 or 50 today, I'm guaranteed to get those shares.
Yes, as long if the if the payment went through, that means that's what's left and that's available.
All right. Thank you.
So,
Hey, Chris, I have a question.
sure.
So my name's Iman. I purchased shares earlier, and I repurchased some more. So when are those certificates going to be distributed? Are we going to get new certificates for the new set of shares we purchased?
Yes, everything will be uploaded through the Core Connects platform. So it won't be the paper PDF printouts, but it'll be the digital verification of the amount of shares you own on the Core Connects platform.
Okay, and then will we also have a certificate of the older ones on Corex, or do we just keep the paper ones that we got earlier?
Yeah, you can keep those. You can keep those for now because we don't want it to be a conflict where you have two sets, but it's really representing the same shares. So it's easier for us to keep those two bifurcated, separated.
Okay,
Hi, Chris. This is Sharonica. I'm new to this as well, and I bought some shares, but I bought some. I bought some for myself and for my kids. How does it work when it's bought in your kids' names?
Did you signed up on Core Connects or did you sign up before? Okay,
I signed up on Core Connects, but I did not sign up them a separate account. Do I need to sign them up a separate account in their name?
How old are they?
17 and 4.
Okay, 17. You could sign them up individually. For the 4-year-old, I think that has to remain in your name, and that's more of an asset that you elect on your side to say, that goes to the child until they're 16 years old, I believe. Then they have the right to take ownership of it themselves.
So if I've already signed up and put the share in her name, then how do I need to transfer that to put it in my name until she's 16?
So correct me if I'm wrong. You have not set up an account up for her, so everything's in your name right now, correct?
So everything on Core Connects is in my name. When I purchased the share, I purchased it in her name and in his name.
Okay, that's fine. Send me an email afterwards with your information so I can pull up the share purchases, and we'll just make sure that it correlates. Everything goes to your account. Once you set your son up with his account, then you can send, and there's inside of your account profile on Core Connects, you can elect to give shares to somebody else to transfer the shares, and then you would elect to transfer however many shares you want to your son's account.
Okay, so let me understand this. I need to just do one Core Connects account for my son and my daughter. And then I can.
Your daughter can't have one. So your son can have one.
She can't have one. Okay, so I need to do a separate account for him.
Correct.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions?
I have a question.
Sure.
If we've already purchased some shares but may want to purchase more today, do we have that option?
Yes. Until the shares run out, you can purchase more till midnight tomorrow.
Okay, awesome. And also, I posted this as a chat comment, but is there any way you could share the contact information on that last slide of your presentation again?
Oh, sure. I'll put it in the chat as well. That may help.
Awesome. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Michelle. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you, Michelle. How are you?
Hey, thank you so much for what you're doing. I think this is just an awesome opportunity for all of us. I want to say that, I have I'm new to this as well. My question is, if I'm hearing you correctly, the Core Connects is a newer platform that you're using. I
Mhm.
purchased shares, and when I go in, I built the profile and all of that in Core Connects. Everything in there, the portfolio, all of that shares, all of that is blank. So I'm understanding that I won't see anything in it until next week. It has
Correct.
to take time to, I guess, you guys go through it, filter it, update the information.
Correct.
Right.
Yes. So yeah.
At what we can anticipate every time we buy shares, that it will take maybe a week to migrate over to where we'll be able to see it.
I'm hoping that this is not going to be the process long term. I'm basically almost acting as a consultant, as a case study for Core Connects in their platform, so that because they're being able to see all the loopholes or the missing components of the service they provide. So it's manual now, but the goal would be for us to actually be able to do this directly on their platform, going like maybe later this year, if they would allow the capability for the actual purchase transactions to happen on their platform. So that way it would streamline it. Now, what I do like about this process is, like I said, that we did have a few discrepancies with by the blocks data that they gave us as far as what actual people had invested. So I do like the accessibility to actually verify everything before it's uploaded. Because I know it's nothing worse than if you invest money into something and you go on your account and it shows something else, right? Or it shows shares missing. And so what we're trying to do best is avoid that as much as possible, having as many checks and balances in place.
Okay. Thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, Chris, go ahead, someone.
No, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So I'm excited. I just purchased the shares. So now do I wait, and are you going to send me some information?
Mm-hmm.
How does it work at this point?
Yeah, so you have the Core Connects account set up already?
I don't think so.
Okay, so that's the next thing to do. So let me put that in the chat too. But you definitely want to get Core Connect set up because that is going to house your updates for basically share values and everything. The actual communication on what's going on in the market is going to be like what's going on here. The Zoom calls, which will be recorded, and then we have a folder. It's really just a Dropbox, but I put a URL on it to make it easy for people to get to, where it has the replays of all the previous sessions. It has updated information. I'm uploading pictures to show progress in the community. And any other pertinent shareholder information will be there. And also within Core Connects, there's a section of your account where I can elect to have additional documents put in there. So sometimes you can go in there and check things as well.
Okay, so I need to set up the account on Core Connect. And if for some reason I have questions, who do I contact? Do we contact you, or is there someone we can?
Yes, let me put that in the chat too. So if you have issues with setting up anything on their platform, it is support@coreconnects.com. And then you can email me. So I have an assistant, guys, but my emails go to me and to that person. So one of us will get you answers to whatever questions you have.
Okay, all right. So at this point, I need to sign up with Core Connect, and then that should guide me through the process as to being able to see my shares and the progress.
Right. Once you set the account up, we have to. So once you set that account up, everybody that's buying shares, I have to send Core Connects that data. Anybody that sold some of all their shares, I have to send them that data. I also have to tell them, what else is going on with the amount of distributions. Like some people may have taken one or two of the distributions and they still have a balance left. A lot of people have not taken any of them. They're letting it accrue. So, but I have to give that individual designation for each one of those things to Core Connects. And then after we get the next appraisal and the value goes up, we can determine what the new share value is. I have to, give them that data too.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem.
Hi, Chris. I had a question. So I know you said next week, I believe you said that's when the email will go out for distributions or whether people want to, well, I'm sorry. So tomorrow's the last day for everybody to either buy or sell, correct?
Correct.
So the people that sell, will
Mhm.
that increase the number of shares that's available to
Yes.
purchase?
Yes, it actually will. Yes.
And when, because I don't have it right now to get it by the 31st. So my question is, when will the opportunity become available for us to purchase the shares from the people who are selling?
It won't come again until this time next year, unfortunately.
Okay.
Yeah, we can only do it like once or twice a year because it's a very tedious process, and we have to report all this data to all these SEC organizations. So just to keep it streamlined, and like I said, it's not, if when you go to the stock market, there's entire exchanges, which is exactly, this is all they do, is this part of the process. But it's very hard for us to manage it, so we do it once a year.
Okay.
Opportunity to get it out. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep. No problem.
Hey, Chris, this is Aaron Laster.
Sir.
Do you see that changing once the proprietary platform is developed?
Yeah. If with the proprietary platform, so there's a few components to that. I cannot, as an individual or the company that sold the shares, I cannot be the party that handles the transfers. So the federal government regulates it has to be a third-party entity called a transfer agent. So that's what Core Connects that's really their responsibility for us. We facilitate everything through them. Even though I can do the financial exchange, I can't do the shareholder exchange. So our platform would have to be set up to where it's a true secondary market, a true exchange. So I'm not sure how long that process will take, or if I'd have to bring on a third-party partner for that component of it. But the proprietary site was really to have more accurate, up-to-date communication for everyone involved on what's going on with their personal investment in the project.
Got you. Thanks.
No problem.
Oh, hello, Chris. My name is Marcus. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. I got on here a little late. So the buy and sell form you sent out a few weeks ago, the deadline for that is tomorrow, right?
Yes, that's a deadline tomorrow.
Okay. And will you send out more buy and sell forms in the future?
Yes. Well, I'll send them out probably a couple months before the next opportunity to do so, which will be next summer.
Okay.
Yeah. So this will close it out this time. And previously someone asked about selling. I actually sent the information out to the people that had expressed wanting to sell throughout the year earlier on. So I don't. Well, who knows? Maybe somebody else may decide to sell. But I wouldn't want anybody to get their hopes up. I think a whole lot of more shares are going to become available. My lawyer told me to say that several times. It's no guarantees, but yeah. So we do have a few left.
Chris, are there currently any other projects or properties you're considering purchasing soon in the area? Any other?
So the only thing I'm doing right now is I'm partnering with a few people that have their own projects, and I'm kind of guiding them through. So 2 blocks north of our property, like that directly north, another investment group just bought a lot where they're going to build 6 townhomes. They're going to sell 2 of them, keep the rest of them as short-term rentals. And then on the other side of 59, there's a group that bought half an acre. It has 4 fourplexes on it, and on that site, it's going to be another rental community. So there's a lot going on in the area. I have been focused on getting this project to where it is. Finally, can delegate all of the operations and day-to-day management. Now my next focus is getting the back end items together. And I do have one other big project that I'm working on, which is the church project that you saw in the video. But outside of those 2, I'm not actively, until I can build a depth of a larger team. I have hired 2 people, but until I think I'm gonna need 2 or 3 more before I take on any new projects, until we get all of these projects very stable.
Gotcha. So we'll be able to invest in anything else other than this project with you?
Yes, I will have some projects in the future for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I got a question for you. So everybody here on this call is either part of the Lyons Avenue project or trying to get involved with it. What's with the Liberty Square and the mod projects? What's going on with those?
Okay, so Liberty Square, we built and sold the first 5. And I kind of put that on hold to focus on the mod because it was going to have a bigger impact on the community. The mod is doing well. Actually, guys, what's so ironic, you know, this whole thesis is based off of that big East River project, and actually established a really good relationship with East River with the owners. And so I actually had a meeting with them yesterday, and they're trying to figure out how to bring more minority development and investment into their project, as well as figure out ways to possibly work with us on the mod. The charter school that's coming to the north end just got the all clear from their financial partners, which is the Walton Family Foundation, to move forward with the land acquisition, but they have not completed their charter approval yet. So we're hoping that this next round they'll get that final approval so they can get started. And then we're projecting construction to start for the mod in maybe the 4th quarter of this year, or at the latest the 1st quarter of next year. But yeah, everything's moving forward with both of those projects.
So I'm sorry, will shares become available for the mod as well? Or I mean,
Oh yeah, unfortunately, no. So that's a completely different structure. I did take on some investors on the front end to purchase the property itself. So then we collectively go as a group to the table with the big investors, which is right now it's a group that does EB5 investing, and then we have Woodforest Bank, who's based in the Woodlands. They have an opportunity zone fund. So between the two of those groups, they're putting up about $22 million for the big deal. So it's like $84 million in total. So in those types of things, when those big institutional investors put up the type of money, they're not in favor of seeing a whole bunch of other investors that are involved that can possibly, cause issues. So unfortunately, not on that one, but there will be other projects in the future.
Gotcha. Appreciate the feedback, brother.
Yeah, no problem.
So this is Sharonica again. I have another question. So we're buying shares for the Lyons Avenue project. So what is the difference between the East End project and this project, the Lyons Avenue? Are they the same? Because I'm kind of confused now.
Okay, no. So the East End, East River project is just the typical big development project that goes on in our historically Black neighborhoods, right? And usually gentrification happens. But my whole approach to this is, if you can't stop that, let's buy up everything around it. Because what happens, like usually our communities become unaffordable for us. Well, if they're unaffordable now, that means at some point in time, those values went up. And so we should all be in position every time one of these big projects happens to buy everything up, so that as those values go up, we all collectively benefit from it. And not only that, but we can actually protect the community at the same time. So that's what we're invested in. That's our focus. We're not invested into the big deal itself directly, but we indirectly benefit from it. It's like if you go into a neighborhood, let's say you go back to your hometown and you see an abandoned house on the street, and you want to flip it, turn it into a rental because you say, oh, so much opportunity there. Well, it's still very risky, because if there's nothing else around it that's a catalyst that's going to change the neighborhood, you're betting on somebody just wanting to come there because you created something. However, if you take that same concept and you put it next to somewhere where they're doing an East River or they're building a new stadium, then it takes a lot of the risk out of your investment, because the values are going to go up. There's going to be a lot more demand there, and it is in your own neighborhood, and you do want to have ownership there. So it basically makes your risk level of less gambling and more of a surefire thing that, at least it's going to be stable, and it's probably going to have high demand and values will increase. Okay,
so the East River project is not your project. It's just that it's around the Lyons Avenue. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now I understand. Okay. Yeah. I'm new to this, so I'm just trying to understand.
Oh, it's all good. It's all good. That's what we're here for.
Hey, Chris, I have a question. Yeah. I am new to the platform as well. I was able to purchase some shares and also connect on the, the Connects platform. Mm-hmm. So in the future, can we rely on these calls to kind of understand and interpret the data that's in Core Connects so that we can better understand our investment in return.
Yes, for sure. And if you have any specific questions, you guys actually, it'd be great if you all email them to me, and then maybe I can just create a frequently asked questions document that can also answer that. Because if you have the question, I'm pretty sure somebody else has the question, but we definitely can discuss it on the calls as well.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, no problem.
Hey, Chris, I have another question. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
If we need to sell shares, is it possible to transfer the shares over to a family member or spouse, or no?
Yes, you can do that. If you want to do that, elect to sell, but send me an email directly. Don't use the regular form. Send me an email, and then
it's not something I'm looking to do now. It's just because I was looking to purchase a house, and because of the program, you can't own any property, so I might have to sell the shares. I'm just not doing it right now.
Okay. Yeah, if you want to do that, we definitely can. That way, we'll know exactly who the buyer is going to be and who's going to transfer it to. Yeah, we can do that.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Hey, Chris, one more question.
Sure.
Yeah, if you're using a self-directed IRA, because when I initially purchased some shares with the Buy the Block, it was through my self-directed IRA. But using a new platform, would you be able to log in and see your self-directed IRA shares, or do you have to go to your actual self-directed IRA platform to view it? Because that's how I see it now.
Yeah, no, you should be able to log into Core Connect and see it as well. So whatever your self-directed IRA platform is using is probably just something that was reported to them, so it's not actually active. And I think they only require those valuations once a year.
Right.
Yeah. So if we have an update mid-year or anything, it won't be reflected. So yeah, you definitely want to stay plugged in with Core Connects, because I mean they have the accounts for everybody. You have the trust accounts, which is basically the IRA accounts. You have the business accounts if you invested as a business, and then you have the personal investment accounts as well. But they all kind of function the same on Core Connect's platform.
So I have to create like a self-directed IRA account with them, is what you're saying?
Yeah. Well, whatever information you had on the previous platform, on the Buy the Block platform, that's already been transferred.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
All right, perfect. Thanks, man.
Okay, no problem. I'm sorry, somebody had their hand raised.